my eye. Through the mist, my surprise shone light from distant northern skies. At that point, I realized I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play.
Welcome to the Quantum Guide Show, interviews with awakened masters as they share their quantum work with you. The Quantum Guide Show is produced by Karen Holton, creator of the 9 Steps to Quantum Health Transformation, a free 9-step online course to give you the tips and resources you need to thrive. Karen lost and continues to keep off 178 pounds of surplus body weight as she made her dreams come true. Whether you are awakening to the ascension process or simply want a wiser, more efficient lifestyle, this program is for you. No strings attached. The Quantum Guide Show is brought to you in part by Zendome's Orgonite, Karen's unique brand of orgone generators, ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. Find out how orgone generators work and what they can do for you. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out Karen's current selection, only available from her website, KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Quantum Health Transformation. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Would you like to learn how to eliminate persistent aches, pains, fears, phobias, and debilitating emotions, such as anger, confusion, depression, that stuck feeling, etc., and without medication or prescriptions or surgery, and without any ongoing therapy, just your past life memories? My guest, Chris Lee, is a Canadian clinical hypnotherapist specializing in his method of past life regression therapy, and he will explain how to learn his system. Chris realized through the years that he enjoyed helping people, first in sales, and then 8 years as a policeman. Then the opportunity to become a hypnotherapist came along 25 years ago. That changed his life. And he is hopeful that this may happen to you today when you listen to him share his journey. He has toured 6 countries, presenting his talk, Life in the Past Lane, over 225 times, where he explains what he does, how he does it, and the benefits of his method. And for the last 7 years, he has trained many people, teaching them to do what he does to help others. Chris has written 4 books in his series called Life in the Past Lane, with 2 more coming. And so with all that shared, let me introduce you to Chris so he can tell you how this transformed his life and hopefully will transform your life too. Welcome, Chris. How are you today?
Great, Karen. Thank you for inviting me on your show. That's quite an intro. That guy sounds pretty good. Oh, that's me, is it? Okay. Yes. Yeah, it was 25 years ago that I did take the hypnotherapy program. One thing I do when I do my talks is to explain to people, first of all, that I'm not a reader. People say, oh, what was I in a past life? I haven't a clue what you did. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you anyways, because how my system works, you have to see it yourself, and I'll explain that shortly. So I don't read, you do all the work, but it's extremely effective. Now, when I took my training 25 years ago, hypnotherapy, if you ever check out hypnotherapy schools, they all teach regular hypnotherapy, which is current life. Nobody really does any of the past life, because in the world, half the people believe in past life, but in North America, it's a little less. So if they want to get students to come take their training, and they limit it to people that believe in it, they would not have as many students. So it's not in there. There was 24 people in our class, and I was actually teamed up with a male doctor. And actually, I've worked with 5 male medical doctors and 2 female too. So you would think they might be skeptical, but they're not. They know the power of the mind, that placebo effect. Now, during the training, somebody must have asked the teacher about past life. And I wasn't sure about it, but I knew there had to be something, because men are a bit more skeptical, which is why they screw up a bit more than women. Women have a logical thing, a nice thing called women's intuition. You ever heard of that? Yes. And men, we don't have that, of course not. We have gut feeling, but we like to think that that doesn't make sense. Let's use logic and screw it up as usual. An article I read a while ago, all the world's richest men have become rich by gut feeling, not logic whatsoever. So they mentioned past life. Who wants to see a demonstration? So all 24 hands went up. Who wants to volunteer? 24 hands came down. Not because we were maybe afraid of it, but a lot of us people still think that you disappeared and they want to know what they said. That does not happen. I'll explain. So we started bantering back and forth. Who's volunteering? You go. No, you go. Finally, Hugo went up. That was a joke. I give out virtual cookies for the right laughing and the right answers. So anywho, what happened was I was ready with my book, my paper, my pen, pardon me, cookies. Now, what happened is that he slowed the girl down, regressed her. She started describing being about 10 years old as a boy in the 1930s in the States playing on train tracks. And I went, interesting. So I made some notes. And then she said, she's describing that a train's coming along and the switches in those days were electrical too, and it caught his foot and the train ran over the boy. Now, when I do this talk, I get half the people going, oh no. And I said, it's okay, he came back, different life. So I went, wow. Then he said, let's try something different. And next thing she knows, she saw herself as a woman. We can be both genders in past lives. And she was about 40 in her 40s in 1942 in London, England. Now, you probably know what's going on in 1942, wouldn't you? The Second World War. There, you get a cookie there. And there was a bombing raid.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, wow. Now, the bottom line is the next day, the girl came in, she said, hey guys, I always wondered why I hated trains and thunder. And a lot of us are going, whoa, because of the bombing and the train. But the thing that really got me into past life regression therapy was she said, it's gone. Those two annoying things were gone, just like that. Because when you see what it is, we let it go. And that's how my stuff works. I use a lot of technical terms like stuff. Now, what happened is that when I do my talk, I first of all say hands up. How many people here believe in past life? So most of the people, a fair amount, put their hand up because they knew about it, and they're usually, unless they're being dragged there, come because they want to hear about it. Then I'll say, who's not sure? Now, mostly it's men. And I said, it's fine. If you're not sure, do you have an open mind? And then they sort of nod. So I said, fine, it's all I need, because if you think that you made it up, but your ache and pain disappears, which it will, it doesn't matter, does it? And they go, So, and I do ask who doesn't believe in it. I actually had one who was in Winnipeg. It was a big crowd. A lady out in the middle went slowly, put her hand up for not believing. So everybody's looking at her. So she stood up and said, I have a good excuse though. And I said, what's that? What's your excuse? She said, my daughter believes in past lives and she needed a ride here tonight. So we let her stay. She actually asked a lot of questions because she said that I do make a lot of sense. I use a lot of logic. And I say, yes, because if you don't like logic, too bad. I'm going to use it anyways. Now, the next thing I say is that how many people here have ever been hypnotized? Because see, when you say clinical hypnotherapist, they hear that hypno. And I know it's hard to believe, Karen, but a lot of people have a fear of hypnosis. They think they're going to be out of control because it takes over. They're going to bark like dogs. It's a total bullshit. Excuse my French. I'll explain how that happened, what it's all about. But so some people put the hand up. Usually not very many people have been saved, they've hypnotized. Then I say, well, everybody here that didn't have their hand up, you're fibbing. You're in hypnosis 5 to 20 times per day. And then they all go, oh. And I said, to them, I'll explain, because I always give it a, explanation. You can make a statement, you should explain it. And I said, how many people here remember high school? Do you remember high school? Hands up. Okay.
Some.
Yeah. Did you ever have boring subjects?
Mm.
Did you ever daydream during the boring subjects?
Oh,
Most people
yes.
put their hands up. Daydreaming is hypnosis. Hypnosis is only deep relaxation. You're slowing down your conscious. You get to access your subconscious better, which has the memories of the lake you went to or the beach, and all of a sudden you start picturing that and stuff like that. And that's hypnosis. You ever read a book or watched TV so intently that you don't hear people talking to you?
Mm-hmm.
That's hypnosis. Single focus concentration. That's how we used to memorize stuff when we used to have to memorize. We just blocked everything out, focused on it, and it was easy to memorize. And then the last thing to prove to people that they have been hypnotized, I say, anybody here slept in the last 24 hours? Well, duh. Because again, it's deep relaxation. How much deeper relaxation is sleeping? So it is called hypnosis because you slow down, deeply relaxed. And then I say, now, how many people here have ever been hypnotized? Well, obviously, unless you're not too bright, you put your hand up or you weren't listening, because that's what it's about. And I point out very, very clearly, does anybody force you to daydream? Does anybody force you to ignore people when you're watching TV? Does anybody force you to go to bed? Because if they're going to force you, you'd be wide awake going, in fear.
Mm-hmm.
No. Therefore, it is not loss of control. Hypnosis is all self-hypnosis, deep relaxation. A hypnotherapist and a hypnotist cannot hypnotize you. I can help you slow down. In fact, when I work with my client, when I get ready to rock and roll, I say to them, may I work with you today? And you say yes or no. If you say no, there's nothing I can do. I can't make you relax. If I said relax, well, that even the sound of that would startle me. So it does not work. And if you do say yes, well, then your subconscious knows that you want to do some work. And there's one other thing that helps people to have that fear of hypnosis is a lot of people have seen hypnotist shows. Have you ever seen one of those? Yes. Have you ever been on stage?
I've never been on stage because they kind of scare me because of the magnitude of the weirdness they get people to do, to be honest. I've had private hypnotherapy, but not that stage stuff, no.
See, that's a hypnotist, not a hypnotherapist. Hypnotherapist is a therapist using hypnosis, in other words, deep relaxation. But what it is let me explain how this works on the stage, because I know a couple of hypnotists and they know what I do, and I sometimes come and watch their show. So when they have people up on the stage, all the people on stage, first of all, are 100% aware of what they're doing. They do not disappear. There's no la la land. Nobody floats away. None of that BS. But it gives you the illusion that they're under his control, because just like TV that has that stupid swinging watch thing, which is another piece of BS, because how do you see a swinging watch when your eyes are closed is way beyond me, because you slow down when you close your eyes. So anyhow, stereotyping. So he gives that impression. Now, how he gets the people that go up there is actually quite common, is they'll generally and they need lots of people, and they don't have them pre-picked. He hasn't got a clue who's going to be a good person. So what he does is say, everybody just put your hands together, and usually the common one is that, and the more that you try to separate your hands, the more you can't do it. Now, most people will do this, but some will like that. So he says, those who can't unlock their hands, come on up on stage, and I'll separate them for you. So they come up, and he just suggestion is done. Okay, well, because you think he's going to not separate, he can simply say, now they're loose, away they go. And then he'll say, you want to stay up on stage and have fun. Well, what happens is the type of people that stay up on stage, Karen, are a type of person called somnambulistic, which took me a year to pronounce. They're a type of people that they don't care. They're having fun. They don't have that hang-ups. They don't care. You will never do anything immoral. That is one fact, because you're still in control. But hey, let's have some more fun. So you've probably heard of those people. Only about 10% of the human race is in that category. why they bring up lots of people. And even the people, when he does release their hands, can still say, no, I don't want to stay up. But if they do, now when he does, he will do a method of helping you slow down even more. And what that does is you end up, the people on stage are acting about the age of 7 or 8, because that's when your conscious and subconscious start to separate as you're growing up and start using logic, which doesn't always make sense. But anyway, 7 or 8. Now, here's an easy question. How hard is it for a 7 or 8-year-old or younger to pretend they're playing a musical instrument that isn't there, bark like a dog? It's not difficult. But here's some logic. Here's some logic. If you really watch a show closely, not on TV because they just have, some focus on the hypnotist, but when you add a stage production, or often they come to bars or stuff, watch. During the evening, he'll slowly, every once in a while, tap a person and then say, thanks for coming, and away you go. Just come back another time, because they're not moving now. Because even though they are acting young, kids can get bored. So they don't feel like jumping up and around anymore. They don't look good for the show. He just sends them off. That is why he gets a lot to start with. So therefore, if he's under his control, why would he have to send people off? Because they're not under his control. You wouldn't do anything up on stage if you didn't want to. You're just that type of person that doesn't give a darn, like maybe center of attention, whatever. You've seen those type of people. Just that when they're deeply relaxed, they can act even sillier. So there's no fear. And the average person cannot be, if you don't want to go up on stage, it's not going to happen, because you're in charge. It's just the somnambulistic people. So that's how that works. So once I explain this to my crowd, it's now dissipate all this like fear hypnosis, because they watch too much TV. I still get people that they'll get introduced to me and they'll say, he's a hypnotherapist. And people will think that they have an original joke. They quickly look to the side. Gee, can't get enough of that one. And then I say to them, I like to bug them, I say, why'd you do that? They said, well, if you hypnotize me and make me do something I don't want to do, that's about the level of mentality. And I look at them and say, wow, that's silly, because if I could do that, why don't I go to Las Vegas? They have more money there. I could hypnotize them to say that I'm winning. And then, or how about this? Headlines in local newspaper, 6 more banks robbed by hypnotists. They made them give me the money. Doesn't happen. I was a cop for over 8 years. If we heard people, hypnotists were in town robbing banks and stuff like that, I think we would put them away, wouldn't you? Because it doesn't happen. TV is called entertainment. I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes TV shows aren't always that accurate. Yes. So that is dispelling hypnosis. There's no loss of control. We don't want to lose control. The mind is how this works, Karen. The mind is made up of 2 parts. I'm sure you've heard of that. It's called conscious and subconscious. The conscious part of your mind is actually a very small part. It's about 5%. It is a processor. Think of the computer's processor. It has never been to a past life, hasn't got a clue about them. Came with the body, I think. But the point is, it likes to think it's clever. It's not. The subconscious, obviously 95% of your mind, it is unlimited. I cannot believe how much it holds. If you've got 10 past lives and somebody else has 1,000, which does happen, all of them are in your subconscious. It's unlimited. It's got tons, and it has every single second of every life. So when I say go to a certain life, a certain maybe a type of life, and a day that you were juggling well, it'll find it. It knows. It's amazing. It doesn't play games. It likes to help you. That's its job. But unfortunately, it has to listen to the conscious or repetition. Like some things. You ever have a job that you go to and from the same way all the time, and people put their hands up and say, do you write down the address every day? Do you look at the street names and stuff like that? If you did, you need more help than I can help you with. Okay. What happened is I say, here's a good example. This is repetition. Subconscious works on what you tell it, or repetition. It's to help you. For example, have you ever driven all the way home one day from work pull into the driveway and you realize, oh, how am I here? I'm supposed to stop and get groceries, something out of the usual. And because you were daydreaming, subconscious goes, oh, he's not in charge. I can do it for him. I do most of the driving anyways. And then I go, and then you go, what if I ran over somebody or stop signs? I always look at the wheel wells to make sure nobody's stuck there. But anyhow, you get there because it's repetition. It's subconscious works on it if it needs to help you, because it doesn't want to kill you because you wouldn't have a job again. Now, repetition. That is also why you should be careful how you talk to yourself. If you hear enough things like, don't talk to Johnny, he's got a cold, you're going to catch that cold. You probably have a good chance of getting it, because your subconscious is in control of your immune system. You believe it, it will say, oh, he believes it, she believes it. I'll lower the immune system so that he's more apt to catch it, so I did my job. Be careful how you talk to yourself. There's so many things. Now, what happened is that the subconscious, well, it stores an awful lot. How this whole thing, what it's all about, is that it's to do with past life lessons, not finished. Our body cells, Karen, have a memory, body cell memory. They've proven a few years ago that people with organ transplants are often getting the traits of the person that had that organ. One guy hated pizza, he loves pizza now. I always say, ask for a part from a musician so I can learn to play my guitar better. Okay, but it picks up, and body cells have memories. Now, what it's about is that even the people that aren't sure about this, I explain that we're here basically to learn lessons. And most people go, yeah. Even the ones that aren't sure, but they figure you've got to learn something. The point is that when you come into the human form, you have a lesson to learn that you've already picked out. You have a soul group. You ever heard of soul groups?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
That aren't, I just say pretend. So they go, What it is that we are not people. We are energy. We are energy. We come into the human form to operate that body. It's like putting a computer into a robot, is to learn a lesson. Because first of all, energy does not feel aches and pains. Now, when people get too heavy in my talks and ask me real deep things, that I just look at them and say, oh, I don't know the answer to that one, but I don't care. I do know how to get rid of your aches and pains and fears and phobias. That'll make you feel and do your lessons. Is that okay? Yes. So in other words, I'm not here for debates or theories. Read Michael Newton's book. He's good at that. Life Between Lives. So what happened, though, is that we get together, we have a soul group. Now, when I'm doing a session with people, they slow down. It's easier to get to your subconscious memories. So I talk to your subconscious, or pretty directly to it, but you're there. It's not like I'm talking behind your back. You're there, you hear me. And I'll have it tell you how many are in your soul group, because it's kind of nice to know. The groups are not big. I don't say the range, because in case you're doing a session in power suggestion, but whatever size your group is, it's what it's always been. Apparently, according to Michael Newton and his research, and it seems, again, I'm not there, but when you've got thousands of examples and they all have a commonality, even somebody's not sure has to realize that there must be something there. So what happened is that they put you together. And what happens is you're supposed to mature. That's your job, is to mature your group. It's all held together with love. Now, you have to do that by going out and doing lessons. Again, mature your group. Why? I don't know, but it seems to happen. What we do is we sit around and we say, okay, what do we got to learn this time? And okay, you're going to be the bad guy. You're the good guy. We all take parts. Think of it like a movie or a play, or the actors. Some of them are just like, oh, will that be fries with that order, sir? And then they're gone. But they're going to be either relatives or close friends, because how are you going to learn if they're living on the other side of the world? The point is, when you come into the human form, we totally forget what the lesson is. It disappears. There's a reason for that, is how could you learn the lesson if you had the script in your hand? Today I'm going to do this, so I hope it's boring, not too boring. I'm going to watch, X-Files or something. But it works on free will. I do get people that say in a session, are coming in, a list of stuff. I want to know what my life lesson is. Good luck on that one. I can't help you. They will not let it pop up. I've tried a couple times. That's when I found out that no. In fact, the second person I did, well, the first person actually had seen 2 lives. Then I said, "What's your life lesson?" And it said, "Whoa, is it noise?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's like 2 steel doors slamming in front of my face." And I said, "I think they're not letting you see." Then we went to another life. They're still clear. The next time I tried it, not long after, I thought I'll try one more time. The woman said, "Nope, it's not working. My guide is standing beside me." I looked around. I couldn't see anybody, but some people can. She said, "He's saying no." Then I had a brain fart. I said, "I bet he doesn't mind if I help you get rid of the junk that prevents you from doing your past life or your current life lesson." And she said, and it was kind of touching, he went, "Yes." When I tell that story, I can feel that. So they like it. Now, for example, let's say your life lesson in this life was to save a family that lives on a mountain. And you come into this life with the biggest fear of heights you could ever imagine. I think they're going to be toast up on the mountain because you're not going to go. You got a fear of heights. So therefore, you screwed up. You're going to have to come and do it again. So what happened though is that when we come in, and when people do ask what they suggest to help, I just say use your intuition or use your gut feeling, because some of your soul group that aren't in there with you are whispering, "Don't go down that road." Get that feeling. "Oh darn, it's a guy and he didn't listen again. Okay, next life." Okay, use that type of thing. Now, we don't always learn our lessons. Can you believe that? And that's because of 2 factors. We get killed early in that life, or we really screw up. If you're supposed to be like Mother Teresa and you become Jack the Ripper, I think you screwed up. And what happens is the lesson doesn't go away. Nice try. Every life we come into, I can see this happening. We always have a new lesson to work on, but the old lessons are coming in too. And they bring with it the aches, pains, fears, phobias, debilitating emotions is what I help you eliminate. The word is eliminate, get rid of it. There's no cures, nothing. It's not a curing thing, it's elimination. And I'll explain that in a bit. So what happens is the body cell memory is taking over. So when you've got a persistent pain, so let's say you're one of the 40% of the world that has what I made a name for it called turtleneck syndrome. People go, "What's that?" It's because they cannot wear turtlenecks or stuff around the neck or have people touch their neck. It's because you've either been hung, beheaded, or strangled.
That
And
would
what
be
happened?
me.
Yeah, well, easy
Definitely.
to fix. We sell turtlenecks too. And we were going to, but there's too many colors. So what happened was, where was I? I go on tangents sometimes. Yeah, that's why I need you to help me. But what happened was that when that lesson wasn't finished, for example, if you're being hung because you're a witch, and it's because you were doing quite well, and the church didn't like that, you get hung. It means your lesson's not done. But the pain from that hanging comes in with you, and that's why you just can't have anything touch your neck. You don't know where it came from, because we don't wake up in the morning going, "Oh, now I know where 16 more of my lives were about." We don't do that. That comes into where I help you with this. I cannot do what I do to myself because I have to ask you questions, because I don't see anything. I have to ask you what you're doing or where you're going. And if I'm asking questions, I'm thinking. If I'm thinking, I'm not relaxed. And that'll start coming back up, harder access to get to the subconscious memories. So that is what it's about. Fears, phobias, aches, pains, they're all lives we haven't finished. And when you get things like, for example, fears and phobias, I'll give you a little test here. What do you think are the top 4? I've worked with 141 fears and phobias. Lots of them are single ones of. What do you think the top 4 most common fears are?
Oh, fear of public speaking.
No.
Fear of heights.
It's number 1.
Not sure.
Well, you got a cookie already, so I'll help you with the rest.
Maybe fear of dogs.
No, that's in there, but it's way
Fear of water.
Yes, number 4, deep water.
Yeah, deep
People with
water.
deep water fear don't mind swimming pools. They can see the bottom. It's the bottom they can't see. Shark, shark. It's 2 more.
I was going to say rejection, but that's probably not one of the ones you're thinking of. Okay.
No. Here, I'll tell you them.
Heights, water, spiders, maybe? No?
Further down. Actually, number 2 is claustrophobia.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And number 3 is an odd one. It doesn't sound like per se in the same vein, but it's called fear of success.
Yeah, I know that one.
Now, it's not like a water or something you can see, but fear of success, it works the same way, because what happens is if you were rich in a past life and hadn't finished your lesson, maybe a couple of lives, and you got killed and money taken, or you're becoming too successful, when you come into this life, your subconscious is there to help you. If you start become too successful, it'll tell you, don't do that, you get killed. So it'll have you do stupid things like make what I call it is it's called self-sabotage.
Yes.
Make stupid decisions that you normally wouldn't do, so that you feel better that you're not going to be too rich, so you're safe and not going to get killed. So that is the top 4. Actually, spiders and snakes are actually number 5. But what happens is that so many people get told you should face your fears. That'll help you get rid of it. Here's my French. Bullshit. It does not happen. A good example, you can numb it. You cannot, because it's not, you won't know where it's from. I'll explain that. But what happens is I had a fellow one day came to see me for a session. One of the things he listed was fear of heights. And I said, well, tell me about the fear. He said, well, I was told to face my fears. And I said, well, what did they tell you to do? He said, well, I went skydiving. So I said, oh my God, that's facing your fears. And I said, did that work? I knew the answer, no, because he's on his list. He said, no, and he sort of put his head down. He said, I still can't climb ladders. 10 minutes into the session, like in a session, I can take care of 2 to 7 different items. That's how quick this is. This isn't come back to see me for the next 6 years, or over and over and over and over and over, talking about current life when 98% of our problems are past life. What it was is in 10 minutes into the session of starting the past life of heights, saw that he fell off a mountain and it disappeared. Now, here's how my system works. First of all, cause and effect. Have you ever had stress?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever get a stress headache?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people do. And a lot of people take a painkiller for that. I don't mention brands because they already make enough money as it is. You take a painkiller. Now, quite likely that will numb the pain. But the whole problem is that's an effect, the effect of stress. Does that painkiller get rid of your stress?
Nope.
So why do people go to therapy over and over and over again, or work on stuff that are like the Band-Aid? Go for the cause. My system goes for the cause. When I take you back to the past life that you got a pain in your shoulder, turned out you were in a battle and you got a spear in your shoulder, and then I'll say, move your shoulder, and it's like, this is what I love about my job. I call it not really a job. What I do is that client's sitting there, eyes closed. The look on their face when they move a part of their body that they haven't moved for 20 years without pain is priceless. And it happens like that. Because here's how I describe this. My system, I gave it a very, very complicated name. I'll give you the spelling for it. It's called the unknown noise. Okay, people expect, something like big names. The unknown noise. Now I want you to do a word picture. And okay, pretend in your mind's eye that you're living alone, and you're up in bed, and it's a spooky, windy night. The wind's howling. Always somebody in the audience will howl, so it helps fill in the gap. And in the middle of the night, there's a crash, and you jump up and go, "What the is that?" I'm being polite there, and you hear it again, and you realize it's just the wind blowing a branch against the window. Now, I don't know about you, but if it's not going to break, I'll go back to sleep. Later that night, there's another crash, and you jump up and go, "What the is that?" And you hear it again. You realize I don't know what that is. And that's when you start running amok. Somebody coming to kill me, boogeyman, burglars coming to get me. Now, unless we check it out, most people resort to childhood. You pull up your bulletproof covers, try and get some protection, and you don't sleep well because that noise is still there. So you get up in the morning, not refreshed because you didn't sleep well. You go out the door, still windy, and you hear that noise again. It's off to your left. You quickly look to the left, and you realize it's a metal garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the neighbor had bags before. He got a metal garbage can. Didn't tell you. I guess that wasn't on his list of things to tell me. Now, what happened, though, is you're going to make a profound statement plus adjectives about the stupid neighbor. And the profound statement is, it's a garbage can. Now, the next night, another dark, spooky, windy night, the garbage can blows over again. 50-50, you don't even wake up. But if you do, you're going to make your profound statement again, which is?
It's a garbage can.
Yes, and that stupid neighbor. Now, there is a point here, Karen. The noise is the same both nights. Why doesn't it bother you on the second night?
It's the thought attached to the reaction.
No. You're getting heavy. The answer is, you know what it is.
You know what it is. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we're getting too complicated. I keep things simple. You know what it is. Thank you. Now, unless you feel the garbage cans are coming to kill you, you'd let it go. But if I was a reader and said to you, and you told me about the noise but hadn't seen it, and I might say, oh, Karen, it's a garbage can. Well, I don't know about you, but the second night when that noise comes up, I'd be going, how does he really know? He's never been here. I'll peek through the window just too carefully. It is a garbage can. Point is that we are an animal like to see to believe. Me telling you does nothing. Facing your fears does nothing. You have to see it. Seeing it lets it go. The point is you still have to finish the lesson. Doesn't matter what it is. But in a session, I can have you see the lesson that you didn't finish. And the point usually is to show you that, are you working on it? And some people say, oh yeah, I guess I should finish that one, because it's not going to go away. I had a woman's subconscious give me the answer to this question. How many past lives have you had working on patience? Because you haven't finished it. She went, oh my God, 114. I think it's time to finish it. You ain't going to finish. We get to a point where we learn our lessons, we can go away. But if you have 114, so not how many past lives you've had, it's how effective they've been. That is how it's right. You got to finish the life lesson, but you don't have to bring in the physical aches and pains because they just get in your way. Makes sense?
Absolutely.
So what happened is I give you some examples, is that I cover a lot of stuff. Again, psychological or technical terms, stuff. What happens is that when people come to see me, they usually have had their problem for so long that they've learned how to pronounce their 30-letter words. And they go, I've got, and I go, how's that in English? Where does it hurt? Thank you. If it's back pain, I don't care about C6, C7, who cares? I need to know, is it upper, lower, middle? That's all I need to know, because your subconscious doesn't care either. It just knows which area that is being affected from, because you haven't finished it and it brings it along with it, the pain and ache. So you tell me, so when we go to that past life, and again, it's nothing magical or go through hundreds of past lives. No. You have a list of stuff, and let's say it's a lower back pain, which is actually quite common. And I say, let your subconscious now show you the cause of your lower back concerns. I don't say the word pains and aches and stuff because you're giving it credence again. And I say concerns. That makes it a positive, at least a positive thing. So within seconds, you're going to see it. Because I'll say, go to the correct point. Now, I don't see it. You do. I do feel a bit of when you are relaxed. My third eye seems to tell me a bit that you're there, but I don't see it. So I ask you questions. And once you see where it comes from, there's no reason I have, in fact, I have you even say out loud, that's a different life, I let it go. Again, you got to finish finish the lesson. You don't need to bring it in. There's so many things. The only big word I've ever bothered to learn is because I get a lot of these. Is called fibromyalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Might have heard of that one.
Oh, yes, I'm quite well aware of it.
Yeah, well, two of my doctor friends laughed and said, when I told them different times about that, and they said, when we can't prove where your pain came from, we call it fibromyalgia, so you'll feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Got a title to it. Is there a
Mm-hmm.
cure for it? No. Can I get rid of it? Yes, because it's to do with where it came from, the past life. Doctors, again, they take hypnosis training, but so like about a weekend, so they really never use it. But they do come to see me because they do get aches and pains, and remember, you can't fix your own stuff when it's from a past life. Any questions so far?
No, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating, and it makes a lot of sense, Chris. What you're saying makes a lot of sense, and it brings it right down to a really understandable level, so thank you.
Now, some people think it's their imagination. They'll say, they finish the session and they say, like, first one guy, he finished, he said, you took care of my 4 concerns. And then he leaned over like it was a secret. He says, you know what? He said, I was here all the time. I said, yes, I watched you. You didn't leave. They still think there's mystical stuff. Another lady one time, and it's happened a couple of times since, but when I learn something, I add it so that they don't have, I don't get many questions because I've heard them all, so I incorporate them in before they ask them. What happened was she finished and she said, you got rid of my stuff, but she said, I don't really think I was in hypnosis. And I said to her what I've done a few times, what's it supposed to feel like? And she said the usual answer, I don't know. Now here's some logic. If you don't know what it's supposed to be like, how do you know you weren't in hypnosis? Because they think there's bells and whistles and stuff. The whole point is in a session, I'll be asking you questions. It'll sound just like I'm talking to you right now. The difference is you'll have answers because your conscious won't be in the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the whole thing works. And also, when you finished the session, you're going to feel so nice and relaxed and moving parts. Like lower back, this one fella, another thing is that when the body cell memory duplicates the pain, it tightens the muscle. But if it's not hurting as much, it will actually put bones out of joint. So quite often when people have finished that particular life, then I'll say, move around. And I also use the scale of 0 to 10. 10 is how it hurts. 0 is cleared up. The most common answer is 1 or 2, because sometimes there's a bit of residue of a muscle not moving for a long time. But that 1 and 2 will go to 0 within a couple of days. So when he moved his back, he said, did you hear that? And I said, oh, yes. It was a big crack. And I had a smile on my face because I know that is a good thing. When he finished the session and he stood up, he said, I haven't stood this straight in 12 years because the bone was out of joint to hurt like that life, which he had been thrown from a horse, hadn't finished his lesson, and it went back into joint. So I often hear crackle, snap, pop when they go to move, or I get people that don't go snap, crackle, and pop because they often do that. Many people have come in well, not tons. I do get people that come into a session and they've listened to my talk or my video and saw that, oh, that can be done, that can be done. And when they come in, but I've had a few come in that say, I have no problems, I just want to see what it's all about. So I look at them and have a couple minutes chat, and every single one of them, by the time I'm ready to go further, will have at least 5 things on their list because they thought what they have was they're stuck with. This one guy, he came in and he said he was cracking his knuckles. I hate that. Drives me nuts. And then they often do that while it's really loosening up the joints. Well, then why doesn't everybody in the world crack their knuckles, ding-a-ling? No. Sure enough, it was to do with dungeons. Dungeons are the biggest problem we ever had because back in the old days, they weren't nice to us. There wasn't lawyers, there wasn't counselors, there wasn't any of those. In fact, jail guards were not nice people to begin with. That's why they were picked. because they often had to torture people to get information for the king, but most of them just ran amok and tortured you because they had nothing better to do. This guy, they were cutting his fingers off to torture him. So when he was cracking his knuckles, his subconscious was reminding him that his fingers were still there. Okay. He stopped doing it. Another lady came in, she was clearing her throat constantly. I said, how long have you been doing that? She goes, what? I said, clearing your throat. Oh, that. Oh, yeah, it does bug my friends. I said, all my life. Now, she wasn't that old. She was in her 40s. But that's a long time. Constant. Turned out, let's put it on your list, which had not much on it, like nothing before when she came in. She had died in a past life in Pompeii. Remember that island that had the volcanic thing and the whole thing? Archaeologists are still finding people bodies from there, and they're still fairly intact. They didn't die from melting from the molten lava. It was from the dust. They couldn't breathe. That's why she was clearing her throat. She stopped. When she left, she said, this feels so nice. I can even take a deep breath. There are so many things that are on your list of stuff that are from past life. Allergies, what do you call it? Asthmas. Almost. Now, I do get people that say, like, for example, a car accident. They go, it's not past life. I had a car accident. And I go, okay, interesting. The average bone can mend itself in 7 weeks, sorry. And if you leave it alone, your body's actually good at healing. If you'd shut up and let it go. But we don't. The conscious, which has an ego problem, thinks it's clever, listens to everybody. Most of them are wrong. Anyway, so what happened was, I said to them, is the pain, how long ago was the accident? Oh, 5 years ago. It's still bothering you? Yeah. I said, you've triggered something. Because when you trigger the pain from a past life, or it's like sometimes you don't have a pain from a past life because you have so many, but you have that accident, it's like, oh, subconscious, that reminds me of why that life we haven't finished. So it continues holding that pain. Good example was I was in fact, not far from you, Grand Prairie. And it's almost walkable from me. Anyhow, in Grand Prairie, and a lady, one of the clients that came in, she said, well, I did have a car accident. I didn't put it down. I said, where does it hurt? And she says, in my left shoulder. And I said, when was that? 1.5 years ago. Have you been doing anything for that? And she said, yes, for the last 7 months, she's been taking physiotherapy. Now, it's a good trade. What happened though, I said, how much moving can you do? So she showed me, she could bring her hand up to like parallel to the ground with a lot of pain in her face and shaking. So I said, put it back down. In the past life, turned out she had been in a battle. She was a knight, and somebody had thrown a spear and caught him. Now, first of all, I don't lead. I don't say, is it where the pain is? That's leading. I say, where did it hit you? And if they say shoulder, I don't say, is it the left one? I say, which one? And the fact that it's the one that hurts, the area of your body hurts, is always 100% because that's what you're being affected from. I said, now move your arm. Well, the look on her face, eyes are closed, but she was doing this. She went almost straight up with her arm with no problem. She was a 1 out of 10. And that one would have been gone in a couple of, remember, some of your muscles are a little bit still locked a bit. That 10 minutes, 7 months of physiotherapy, there's a difference there. Happens away. I get rid of people's aches and pains. Now, there is a little sort of interesting factor, is that when it's gone, you don't have to come back and see me. So, and what happens, people say, well, you're not going to get repeat clients. Well, I'm glad for that. But the point is that there's billions of people out there. I cannot catch up to them. Plus, when one has got a problem cleared up, you better bet the word of mouth, all the relatives come in. So so that's why when I say to my clients or my students, when I train you, you can have 2 or 3 in the same city. Red Deer could have 2 or 3. That's because why do they have more than one dentist? Okay, you know, it's because there's enough of it going around. So I do train people. I actually have a very good one in Red Deer. And where was I going with that one? So there's tons of stuff. But the thing is that there's lots of stuff. Cause and effect. Now, I mentioned dungeons. Okay. My first book, actually, just to explain the books quickly,
Oh,
it's
yes,
called
please do.
Life in the Past Lane. It is not a how-to book. You can't do it yourself. Nice try. Remember, I can't do it. But it tells you a bit about how I do it a bit. But it also gives case histories. In fact, turtleneck syndrome's in here. Now, I have a bit more of a variety of main subjects in here. And that's because I didn't know I was going to do more than one book. So I got sleep concerns, allergies, cracking knuckles, hearing, bladder issues, cancer, arthritis, stuff like that. And then I realized that I wanted to put in fears and phobias. Well, the book is getting too big. And then I realized that I've got more. So I started doing like a series, still the title, still Life in the Past Lane, Fears and Phobias. And I thought, well, then one on aches and pains. And the fourth one, there's still 2 more to go, but the fourth one, and it's in red for a reason, it's to do with, read it in the back, serial killers, Jack the Ripper, World War II atrocities, torture, dungeons, witches, and sexual assaults. So the red is appropriate. Now, it's not to sort of like have people go, oh my God, look at all that. It's to show people that the stuff you're getting in this life, a lot of it comes from that. When you see it, at least it lets you know that you can get it eliminated. Dungeons alone can affect your weight in this current life. If you're trying to go on a diet and it bounces back, that's because your subconscious says you starved to death in the dungeon. When you went to dungeons, you rarely got out of them. You died there because they didn't feed you much. That's where you also get irritable bowel syndrome because the food's pretty bad, if you got any. Second is nail biting. You know anybody that chews their nails? Dungeons, because they didn't feed you, so you're chewing something to try and eat. If you're rats that were in there. Actually, libido, interesting enough. It's really funny is because many years ago, somebody said that they wanted to work on their libido. Now I'm thinking, is that a car? I wasn't quite in the know of the expressions. It's sexual desire. You don't have it. What happened is the guards generally raped you daily. That was their little perk. And if they had 3 or 4 guards, sometimes 3 or 4 times daily. Now, think of the logic here, Karen. You come into the human form, remember bringing an ache or pain because you don't know where it comes from, but it still hurts. You come in with having sex being a torture or pain. You kind of bring that with you into this life, that you don't really want to have sex. So that can be also fixed too. So Dungeon fixes corrects a lot of stuff. Now,
Wow.
now, remember I mentioned about headaches. Actually, I was going to back up for a moment. When I started saying about imagination, when people think they made it up. Now, I learned to be polite. If you said, wow, you got rid of my 4 or 5 concerns, but I think I made it up, I have to look at you and very politely say, you're not smart enough. And then I add that I'm not smart enough to do it either. Here's why. Who made it up? That's when the conscious, which you do have to have some there, we do slow you down, has to have some to know what to let go. Because if you did have your conscious and subconscious together, it's called sleeping and I can't talk to you. So what happened is that it will go sometime like, oh, well, I'm going to say, when you ask the year that's in, I'll say 1802. I made it up. The conscious has no memory. It's the subconscious has the memories. So the conscious cannot make up 1802. It gets it from the subconscious because it said, I'm going to make it up. The subconscious doesn't play games. 1802 will be the correct answer. So when they think they made it up, I don't care. But the point is, you didn't. And I say, when I'm asking you questions, always just tell me the first thing comes to you. If I hear 2 answers, that means the first one was the subconscious correct, and subconscious tries the other. So I know how to recognize it and kick it out. Now, there is one thing I like to make a profound statement about, is there's no such thing as imagination. People in the audience go, what the heck are you talking about? Now, let me explain. Now, I'm going to have you do this too. What I do is I have everybody in the audience close their eyes for a few minutes. Close your eyes. Do it right now. Now, big deep breath. And sort of take a moment, clear your mind. I want you now in your mind's eye, Karen, is to see or sense or visualize a lemon. A big, bright, yellow, sour, juicy lemon. Cutting it up. Look at the juice squirting out. That smell. And now take a bite of one of those pieces of sour lemon. Feel that texture. Swallowing it. And one more time. Another piece of that sour lemon. Then I say, okay, everybody open your eyes. You can open your eyes. Now, half the people are making faces at me, and I tell them that because they're like wincing up their face. About another quarter of them are polite and just a little bit. There's always a couple that it doesn't work. One person said, I like lemons. So what? It still makes your mouth water. Now, the point I'm making is I could tell from the look on your faces you were tasting it.
Oh yeah, my mouth is watering up like crazy. Yeah, it was.
Now, I'm proving a point here. When the mouth waters, that means your body is reacting, but there's nothing in your mouth. So what's it reacting to? Give you a clue.
Past experience.
No. One word starts with an M.
Memory.
Memories, yes. You've had one. Nothing to do with past life. Forget it. It's to do with a memory. You've had one. I guarantee you 100%, Karen, if you've never in your life tasted a lemon, you cannot imagine what the taste would be like and make your mouth water. It doesn't do that. You cannot imagine it. You have to have had the experience. So when people say when I say there's no such thing as imagination, try it. How can you imagine the taste of a lemon? But bottom line is, if they still think they made it up, it's not a big deal because it's still going to take care of their aches and pain. If people aren't sure, but more so men, because they're a bit skeptical, we're a bit skeptical. But by the time we're done, it's like, oh, there must be something, because I don't remember wearing armor and riding on a horse with a sword lately. Okay, so it must have happened. Yeah. So basically, that's how it works. There's so many things that we think that we're stuck with. You might not know it, but we pick our parents. I get people say, why the heck would I pick those parents? Well, it depends. If you were, say, to learn how to be abused, if it wasn't that you could pick an abusive family to jump into, if it was random, it's like, oh my God, I got the happy couple again. I got to wait another 80 years to start try it again. You pick to learn. It's also why people say, well, I've got diabetes because it runs in the family. I've got cancer, it runs in the family. I've got bullshit. And in one sense, it runs in the family because that family has a deficiency in their gene that makes it happen. So one of your lessons is to learn how to handle diabetes. So just for it to feel the pain or to get over it or fix it or something. How can you get it easily if you go to the healthiest family you ever could meet? It's not going to happen. So we do pick those type of families. We are born extremely healthy unless it's a lesson that you have to be like paralyzed or something, but that doesn't happen too often. Oh, one thing though, if a child dies young, people say, what's the lesson for that child? Often it's nothing. It's for the parents. So we do come in sometimes with no lesson, but to help some of our soul group members that maybe haven't caught up, because sometimes you might get ahead of them. So you do have to work with each other. Yes. But there is so many things, lessons not finished. Birthmarks are not birthmarks, they're death marks.
Interesting.
Yes. They're where you've been shot, stabbed, that type of thing. And actually a situation is that lady one time in a talk said, says, I don't know about that. She says, I've got a birthmark on the back of my neck and my two sons have the identical mark. Now that did sound a bit like it could be generic, but I knew I was going to have a session with her. So during the session, I said, let's just check on your birthmarks, because I usually don't go to them because they're usually not bothering you. She said, okay. And then she went, oh my God, you're right. My two sons and myself were all from the same soul group. We were in a different life and we were all soldiers. We all got executed the same way. So there's where it happened. But it can be interesting. Yeah, we've also been animals in past lives too.
Interesting.
Yeah, usually more at the beginning reincarnation. But one thing I've found, like sometimes you go, and I'll take you to your soul group, and when you get there, I've had people say, my dog's there.
Yeah.
and it's been their dog all that it was, died, but they were so close. It's one of your soulmate because they came in that form to help you with something. Or and dogs have been known to drown trying to save their masters because they're there to help. But I have never yet. Generally, you'll be a dog, cat, wolf, eagle, um, even an elephant for one, but nobody's yet been a cow. I don't think it's pretty hard to get it close to a cow. Okay, horses, yeah. But so we do have that. I have a list here. One thing too is sleep. Okay, that's why on my list, I say to people, do you go to sleep quick or slow, or varies? Do you how about you? Do you go to sleep quick or slow?
Oh, quick.
Hmm.
Quick.
Now, some people that go quick don't mention that the middle of the night they wake up and they're up for 3 hours. Okay.
Oh yeah, that happens too sometimes. But initially, it's I don't remember my head hitting the pillow.
Some are quick, yes. Now, there are 50-50. The people that go to sleep slow, it's generally for two reasons. There's a lot of what if people thinking about tomorrow, what if this happened? Like, how many times have you got to go over it before you've covered everything and go to sleep? You see, our conscious does remember what you did for the day. That's its job. It holds today. In fact, it can get full. Remember when we're maybe back in the old days studying, and after a while you felt like thick? It's because it's filled. Let it go. When you go to sleep, your conscious, subconscious join, and everything you did for the day drops down and is filed into the computer. So the next day when you wake up fresh, because you've had a good sleep, it's all empty. No, that sounds dumb. Your brain's empty. No, it's the storage part is empty, and you're ready to help have a good day. If you have poor sleep, it might not have all dropped down. So wake up in the morning feeling groggy. That's because half of it's still full. So if you have a lot of what if, go over it for a few moments and go to sleep. Shut up, because when you wake up more refreshed, you can handle the what ifs. Now the other reason is generally is because you died in your sleep. You were killed in your sleep, or molested, or that type of thing, in different lives. So what happens is that your subconscious is going, don't go to sleep because you got killed, and that can make it a problem going to sleep. A few odd things I've had is people that wake up at a specific time of the night. One lady, she said a little after 3 every night, all her life, and she was in her 50s, at 3, and she takes another half hour, 45 minutes to go to sleep. She said, it's so annoying. So I said, let's check it out. And sure enough, she had been buried alive.
Wow.
This happened back in the old days because they didn't have very good doctors and stuff. Your test for being dead was a fog of mirror or a feather, or a feather. If you were in a coma, you hardly breathe. So they would just say, you're dead, bury you. That's where I learned a lot of expressions. That expression, his face sure rings a bell, or he's a dead ringer for Quasimodo or whatever, is because if you came from a richer family and they buried you, they would put a rope or string tied to your head and up to a bell, and a guy, that was where the expression, the graveyard shift came in. I thought it was just people working nights. No, people working graveyard would be listening. If you woke up and you panicked, which probably would happen, and you can't, is that you ring a bell, they'd have time to dig you out. So that was where that expression came from. Now,
Wow, gruesome.
And I said, let your subconscious tell you, when did you wake up on that in the coffin? She said 3:10.
There you go.
He's never woken up at 3:10 again since then. People do get back to me. So you do have that. Another one, he wakes up at 5 every morning for years. He said, I don't like it. Turned out he was a farmer in a past life, and they get up at 5 in the morning to feed the cows. So he got rid of that one. So get a good night's sleep. One of the things that really, really I get goosebumps telling about, it's in one of my books here, actually The Ache and Pain, is that hearing and vision are affected. And what happens is that when I work with a client in my office, when we're ready to rock and roll, I put a headset on you, headphones, And then I put a little microphone from my ear and I talk into a mixer. So it goes right through, even though you're right in front of me, I talk through that. Now I do that for a couple of reasons. One is that because I travel a lot and I work at different locations, people that come to my talk book a session, 84% of the people come to my talk book a session because they realize that it's worth doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it helps keep out other noises. Second is because I put in sort of slow music to help slow you down. It's actually my wife's voice, and my son layered it. He's technical thing. So what happened was a lady in Nova Scotia, for the Americans, that's one of our provinces on the east end, the Maritimes. What happened is that she was about 35. When I put the headphones on her, I said, I like to check on the music level because you're the first one today, adjust it. She said, what music? So I turned it up. She said, no. Turned it up really loud. She says, just nice. I said, you've got a problem with hearing. She said, how did you know? Interesting thing too, if somebody is getting hard in hearing, watch them more closely. They'll stare at you more because they learn to read your lips a bit too. So the way to test it is talk like this. Anyway, so what happened was I said, how long have you had that concern? She said, about 20 years, about 15, this life. So I said, it's not on your list, is it? She said, no, because she didn't know this could be fixed. So I said, go to the past life, your subconscious. Let your subconscious show you the past life that's the cause of your hearing concern.
Mm-hmm.
Within moments, she's seeing herself as a female of age 15 in early 1900s, a dilapidated old farm. She was an only child, and often they had the door open. So a rat got in. Mom's screaming to Dad. Comes running in. There's a rat in the living room. Shoot it. So he's got his rifle. Now her as the girl in another room, being very nosy, which she said, I'm also very nosy in my current life. We do bring in our traits. Went running around the corner to see what happened, and the rifle went off, and she was too close, and it deafened her in mostly the left ear, but pretty well on the right as well.
Mm-hmm.
I said, now that you see where it came from, you now can let it go. And she said, yes, and please turn the music down.
Great.
That's how quick it can work.
Yeah.
Because the muscles were holding the things in your ear from working. As soon as it lets go, it works. I just get goosebumps from that. Another thing is, remember I said bones are kept out of joint, and the other big word sort of that I learned is arthritis.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. People have their arms, mostly hands and feet, and their fingers are swelling and they're out of joint. Well, what happens, remember I said, when you have a concern from a life, it hurts, it tightens up the muscles. But if it tightens up your fingers, it doesn't hurt, it puts them out of joint. Now, physically, when they're out of joint, your body has fluids and it's not working well, it's going to calcify and make stuff. So, but it is not hereditary. It is not a disease. It's a past life concern. Lady came in to see me a few years ago, in her 60s. Came in and her hands were really bad. Could hardly hold a pen. So I said, how long have you had this concern? She said, about 6 years. And have you done anything with it? No, they can't seem to do anything about it. Well, it's because it's a past life. Anyhow, so I said, now, let your subconscious take you back. And it wasn't on her list. She thought she was stuck with it. Go back to the past life. So back to a dungeon. She was a female, and they were just in the process of smashing her hands with a hammer. Remember, they're not nice.
No.
We've all had those rules. But anyhow, I said, now you saw where it came from. There's a few other words I say that helps clear it up, but I'm not going to tell you because then other people won't come to my training. Kidding. Anyhow, what happened was I said, now move your hands. Eyes are closed. She put her hands up, and it was like a Rice Krispie commercial. Remember, snap, crackle, and pop? For about 20 seconds. Her hands were going crackle, snap, and then it slowly stopped, and she went like that. Her flexibility had come back. Her arthritis was gone.
Oh,
because
fantastic.
It's not a disease. It's not a. It's a past life thing, just like fibromyalgia. When it's just a past life. It lets go. Now, one of the biggest things, though, about that I have helped a lot of people with is a thing called migraines.
Mm-hmm.
Migraines are all 100% past life.
Mm-hmm.
There is no cure for migraines, but I can get rid of them for you. It's because it's a past life. There's no pill that says this is for past life, this is for current life. It's what happens. Now, what happens is it's a past life thing. Now, if you are aware of migraines, and those that aren't, they're generally a 2 to 4 day headache. They're not a
Mm-hmm.
stress headache. Some conditions make them worse. I've had people say daylight makes it worse. One person said the smell of chocolate makes it worse. It's all to do with the past life. What happened is a good example is now if also, just to finish, if you've got migraines, more than likely a high percentage are female. And you generally get your first one during puberty time. Not
Mm-hmm.
100%, but generally. That's because, well, actually more people wear glasses between the age of 8 and 16 than any other time of their life because of puberty, change in life. A lot of times you're not used to it, or you're not ready for it. You don't want to see what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
As you think that, your subconscious starts making it hard to see. In fact, it's really funny. I had a girl one time came in to see me. She had glasses. She said that she didn't need glasses, but and she was about 9 or 10. And she said her two best friends, and who were quite popular in the school, both wore glasses. So she wanted to wear them. So she started sitting at the back of the class and purposely squinting. Within a short time, she needed glasses. And she said it's annoying is that later in life, those two went and had laser operations. They have perfect vision. So I said, let me help you straighten it out. So her vision, the last I heard, is that she doesn't need her glasses anymore. Now, backing up, the migraine. Now, my next younger brother, I have 3 brothers, all younger, no sisters. He got migraines, the only one in the family. And he started that when he was 13, so puberty time. What happened, though, is that he had it for a long time. I saw him, he moved to England and opened a pub, so I went over to visit him. While I was there, he had a migraine. So I said, let me look at it, or take care of it, or just check it out. Now, I'd only been doing this for about a year. So he said, sure. Now, backing up for a moment, you ever notice that you have siblings that all have different or different talents, different likes and stuff like that, even though you got the same parents? I think I'm the last one that had the same parents. But anyhow, so it shows they're not that big of an influence, because he liked toy soldiers. I didn't. I liked the Western. That's probably why I was a cop, maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, toy soldiers, back in the old days, they were not soft plastic, so they were metal, and we shared the same bedroom, and go to the bathroom, they hurt when you step on them. Anyhow, so moving along, what happened is that I slowed him down. I said, let your subconscious show you why you have the migraines. All of a sudden he goes, I'm a soldier. I said, well, tell me more about it. He says, World War I, and I'm a British soldier. I'm underage. I lied to get in, to join the army. And I'm over in France. It's my first day. I'm in a trench, and the Germans are on the other side. And I've been here all day. It's so quiet. It's boring. I want some action. I'm going to look over the edge just to see if there's anybody there. And I went, oh God. Sure enough, he put his head up there and he got shot through the head. Both sides kept snipers on hand for idiots that put their head up. Never fired a shot against the enemy. Then he said, wait a minute, though. I'm in World War II. I'm a soldier. So you can see why he really loved soldiers too. And I said, what's his story? And he said, I'm a Canadian soldier, but I'm being trained in England. That's what they used to do because of the Commonwealth. And I said, where by chance were you being trained? And he said, oh my God, it's the same little town that I have my pub in. We get drawn to different areas.
Isn't that interesting?
And he was there because of D-Day, the Normandy raid. They were being trained. So he gets into the landing craft, ready to go across with the thousands of soldiers, and he gets shot the moment he hits the shore. And he goes, again. So I said, I had a brain fart, and I said, where did that bullet hit you? Both wars. And he said, both times in the left temple. Now, big bullets, they come out. I said, where did they exit? And he said, oh my God, both times they come out the back right. So I looked at him, and I could see his in that look on his face like he's figuring this out. I said, where do your migraines start and finish? Because some people have migraines that move, some stay one spot. And he said, oh my God, they start here and they finish back here.
Yeah.
And he's never had a migraine since that day, 1997, because he saw where it came from.
Mhm.
People that take the migraines, they take these pills. And I've
Mhm.
been told that if you don't have medicals, sometimes they're 25 to 50 bucks each.
Mhm.
They got gold in them? And the thing is, do they cure you? No,
No.
they numb you. A lady one time
Mhm.
emailed me after she said, it's been 18 months since I had a migraine and I've saved hundreds of dollars. And I said, well, next time I work with somebody with migraines, I'll find out how much they're paying and I'll do a percentage.
Right.
just kidding. But it's so simple. All it is, a nutshell, see where it came from, finish the lesson. You have to finish the lesson because I can show you what the lesson was from those lives.
Mhm.
But you don't need to carry the aches and pains. And
Mhm.
almost everything is to do with past lives. When you
Mhm.
got a therapy that works on your current life, chiropractors, they're good trades, but I've worked on some of their clients. In fact, one of them sent me his wife because he had sent me somebody else that he couldn't work on or didn't work. And I didn't know I was being tested and I worked on them. But they're good trade. But if it's to do with the past life thing, just like I've had some massage therapists work with them. And I said, you ever by chance have clients that come in often? Yeah. They come in for the same certain part of their body. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cause and effect.
Mhm.
What can they cause? So basically, I think I covered now. The one more thing, the big thing is emotion. So almost done.
Mhm.
We have, okay, when we die, I take you through dying so you can see what it's about. It's actually no fear because we come back again. When you are leaving the body now, because our energy is so strong, we only need a small percentage of our energy to go into a body. So you can be in more than one. When we leave, we don't have to leave. Sometimes it's an extremely strong emotion. It'll be things like a revenge. I'm going to kill the people that killed me. Anger. I didn't finish my life lesson. Confusion. Am I really dead? Or I got to help my family, which is kind of hard to do when you're dead.
Mhm.
Or that stuck feeling. So many people I've met always feel that stuck feeling. They don't know where to go. They just feel stuck. It's
Yeah.
because they've got one of their lives that are stuck. What happens is that emotion is strong, but you're part of that same emotion. I'm sorry, emotion, energy. You're all part of the
Mhm.
same energy. So the feelings that they are getting, you're going to feel them, but you don't know where they come from. That is why current life therapy is not very effective. One
Mhm.
lady, she said, life's been good, but I'm angry all the time. I've gone to therapy for 4 years. I'm still angry, especially after paying the bill. And I said, let's check it out. Sure enough, one of her lives was stuck because of the anger. Wanted anger of the people that she had trusted in that life that killed her. She had a lot of anger. So she's been affected by it. I said, go and take that one and take it home. Now I call your soul group home because it is home. You'll feel that.
Mhm.
And the reason why you can go and get that part and take it home is because we listen to ourselves better than to others. Other energies will come in from your soul group to say, come on, come on. We don't listen to others as well as we listen to ourselves.
Mhm.
When she was taking that one back to the soul group, her home, she started sitting up straighter. It was very noticeable. She says, this feels nice. I'm not angry. And this is only 10 minutes. That's how quick it works. So when people have things, this is now we're talking about emotions. I give you a list: depression, anxiety, anxiousness, unworthiness. People often feel unworthy, suicidal, extreme mood swings, bipolar, or it's actually two past lives, anger, feeling abandoned, constant worry. Where people worry about stuff does not help anything. Doing something makes a difference. But people sit there and worry, oh, I worry about this, I worry. Yeah, like panic attacks, that stuck feelings I mentioned, self-sabotage, OCD, ADT, all these little acronyms and words, they are all stuck lives. Going to a current therapist to finish. Do you ever read the book or hear the book, Many Lives, Many Masters?
Mhm.
That is Dr. Brian Weiss. He was a psychiatrist. He worked, that whole book came out 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It was to do with one lady. He wrote it because what happened was he admits 16, or a year and a half, year and 18 months of working with her, he could not fix her concerns. they use hypnosis too, but he would just go back, why did you hate your parents? Well, what's that got to do with a past life is beyond me. She suddenly started, after about 18 months, started talking about describing stuff that he realized wasn't current life. And they poo-poo it a bit because that's not part of their training. But he decided to let her run with it. Bottom line is 18 months of psychology did nothing. He puts down 6 weeks of past life, fixed everything. I don't know why it took 6 weeks, but he likes to slow people down and relax them first over 2 or 3 sessions. But the point is, he uses past life because that's where it comes from. So if anybody's interested, now the books, they're interesting case histories. They'll also tell you about some of the stuff that you didn't realize could be fixed. I have a special on. If they mention, if somebody emails me at the email I gave you, and we'll put it up later, to my email, order my books. I have 4. Stores in Canada sell them for 15 to 20 bucks each, but I have a special. If you buy one, email me and buy one, it'll be $10. If you buy 2, it'll be 15. If you buy 3, it'll be 20. And if you get all 4, it'll be $25. Plus, if you buy all 4, I throw in my CD called Relaxation Plus. It's a bit like self-hypnosis, teach you how to relax better.
Nice.
The only thing I don't pay for is the shipping. I don't have a white beard and red outfit. Nice try. But order them, and this will help you a lot. And if you're interested in learning to do what I do,
Yes.
unless you don't know anybody that has aches, pains, fears, and phobias and stuff like that, it's so simple. You do not need a degree. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a nurse. You don't need anything. You just have a desire. If you have a problem with public speaking, I fix it for you, because that's easy to fix. Because that's where some people have a problem. They don't want to, they're afraid to talk about it. You gotta remember one quick thing. If somebody's paying you or asks you to do a speech or talk, the fear of public speaking is very strong. The point is, people don't remember. First of all, nobody's going to ask you to talk about something you don't know. That's stupid. They want to hear what you do.
Yeah.
You know what you do. Just tell them. Nobody pays money to come and hear you and hope you screw up. They need a better hobby. They come together, want to learn. If you screw up, you look human. If you go to, here's the biggest one. If somebody, a lot of people are afraid of, what if they get asked something I can't answer? So what? I get it. Happens to me. Here's how you handle this. And don't say, I'll get the answer and I'll get back to you. When you're traveling across Canada, who wants to give you your phone number and have you phone? Like, get over it. What you do is say, does anybody here have an opinion on that? And it always happens. There's always somebody in there that knows how to answer that person's question. So if I can't, and I learn from it too, and away you go. So stop worrying about answering questions that you might not know the answer to. And nobody pays you to screw up. Here you come, here you screw up. But I teach you how to use one of your past lives and use it, because I can also help you improve your talents by going to a past life that you had a talent that you're interested in. And as long as you have one, generally you have an interest in certain arts is because you've done it before. So some of your past lives can have you improve your talents too. So I can't help with that. And so anyhow, email me at that same address or email address, and I'll chat with you. There's no obligation. I'm not going to make you take my course, but just get hold of me and let's chat, because I do need more people out there, because I can't cover everybody. And medicines, I've had one lady said that her friends all have pill trays.
Yeah.
And she doesn't. She said they brag about how many pills they have to take.
Yeah.
Those are hypochondriacs. They like the attention. Why would you brag? And half them admit that some of the pills are for the side effects of the pills you shouldn't be taking in the first place.
Yeah.
So anyhow, get hold of me at CL, which stands obviously for Chris Lee, at pastliferap.com. Past life. The rap, R-A-P, doesn't mean that it's all singing and dancing. Okay, R-A-P stands for regression and progression. It's a lot easier to spell rap than the whole word. So email me, CL at pastliferap.com for books, or to find out more about my training.
Wonderful, wonderful.
See, time
Can I,
goes by fast.
it sure does. Can I ask you a couple quick questions before you go?
Sure.
Um, so I actually would like to know more about the process. So say, for instance, you know, you live, where do you live in Canada? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Near Windsor, Ontario.
Windsor, Ontario. Okay, and I'm in
Which
Red.
for the Americans is across from Detroit. Okay.
Yes, and I'm in Red Deer, Alberta.
Mhm.
So it's unlikely I'm going to come to your office for a session. So do you do it online through
Yes.
Skype or
Totally.
Zoom?
Yes.
Okay.
I prefer Skype because it doesn't drop anymore like it used to. It's a wider
Okay.
screen so I can see you better, not like the little skinny thing that people want to talk on.
Okay.
And yes, it works extremely well on Skype because I work with people when I'm in Mexico for the winter, as I often do, up to Canada. I've gone from
Yeah.
Australia to England. So it works extremely well. Just have to
Wonderful.
watch for time zones, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
we
yes.
don't have to physically sit in the same room with you. And then the other question is, do you have to be laying down or can you be in a comfortable chair sitting up?
I forgot to mention that, yes. When people come into my room, my office, I've had people say, where do I lay down? And I say, why are you paying me to sleep? Laying down triggers, oh, I'm going to sleep. I can't hear you when you're sleeping other than snoring. You sit in a chair. The reason why people think they're supposed to lay down is they think they're going to disappear and they'd fall off their chair. See, that's how it mixes it together. They like, no, nobody lays down. That's ridiculous. You sit in a chair, eyes closed, get a comfortable chair.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing a session, make sure that you're in a room closed and nobody's coming in, turn off your phones, etc., because is that it needs you to relax. But yes, if you like a session, I just got one. I was on a talk show, a radio actually live yesterday in Utah, and I've already got a guy emailed me about some pain. So it's very quick. When it's on podcast, that happens. It doesn't happen until it's being shown. When will this episode be shown?
Tonight.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Oh yeah, it'll be out today for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll send you a link.
Okay, perfect. So thank you. I put in that little thumbnail that you sent me on my Facebook.
Great.
And I'll put the time in there. So thank you. Yes.
And just one other quick question is,
sure.
How long does a session generally take?
My average session is 1.5 to 2 hours. After
Okay.
2 hours, your attention span does wane a little bit.
Yeah, mine does. Yeah.
But
Well,
in
that's
1.5 to 2 hours, I can take care. I did have a lady that has my record of always listed lots of stuff, because one lesson, one life, this one lady, one life in that session took care of 7 issues. 2, she forgot to mention that she had a fear of heights and around her neck, because they put a rope around her neck and threw her off a cliff.
Oh my gosh.
So you can put down everything. Okay. So
And
an
that
hour.
Sorry, go ahead.
An 1.5 to 2 hours.
No. And then I just wanted you to reiterate to folks that this is not necessarily an ongoing therapy, that often in one session, one time, you're actually able to relieve those connections.
To eliminate, yes.
To eliminate them.
The only time I have 2 sessions with anybody is only because their list is this long. I had a lady in Australia had 32 items typed out.
Yeah.
So it did take 2 sessions, and we covered a lot of it because a lot of them overlap. You know, if you got anger and you're depressed, often they can go together. So it could be the same life. But yes, it is not ongoing. It is one of. Only thing is if you happen to have a big list.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so we're gonna close out pretty quick. But before, I want to tell folks that to hang on. After I say goodbye to Chris, I'm going to actually have embed a clip that's going to tell you more about Chris's expertise and what he's offering, and I'm going to have that also at the end of this show. And
it's only a minute long.
Yeah, it's not really long, but it's important, so I'm going to include that. And is there any final words you have for us today, Chris? Anything you want to?
Just thank you for having me on your show, and get in touch with me, please, unless you have no aches, pains, fears, and phobia. Okay, thank you.
Fair enough. Okay, well, it's been pure pleasure, and thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it, and hopefully maybe even have you back sometime to talk more about it. It's a fascinating subject. And, you know, if we can have less pain and suffering, that's one step, in my opinion, to helping improve the general conditions of reality on this planet. So,
If people came and told me about their hip replacement, the knee replacement, a year before they had it, they would never need it.
oh, wow.
I have people that cancel their operations because if it doesn't hurt, why are you going to get it?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, it's wonderful. Okay, Chris, take care. Hope the rest of your day is wonderful.
Thank you. You too. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Meet Chris Lee, a clinical hypnotherapist specializing in his system of past life therapy, which eliminates people's persistent aches, pains, fears and phobias, and debilitating emotions without prescriptions, medicine, unnecessary operations, nor ongoing therapy. His Life in the Past Lane series of books include Life in the Past Lane, Fears and Phobias, Aches and Pains, and his latest, Crimes Against Humanity, with 2 more in the works, and he also has a CD entitled Relaxation available as well. These are client true stories and testimonials of how you see his system works for people, and he can teach you how to do his system as well. You can book a Skype session with him or contact him for more information at www.pastliferap.com or email him at cl@pastliferap.com.
Thank you for joining us for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to Karen's YouTube channel, click the like button, and share this show with your friends. Check out Karen's website at KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. All the links are available in the description box below. Until the next time, keep up the good work.
Surrendering to endlessness puts all my inner strife to rest. For time gives birth to hurriedness. It all makes sense, well, more or less. And the sages put me to their test. With heart and soul, I do my best to find the answers to my quest. I wonder and I must confess, I don't know where it comes from, but I know it's okay. If this is all an illusion, then I'm willing to play. It's okay. It's okay.